Good morning from my smartphone to yours. I'm casting love from the Story Garden Studios in Costa Mesa, California. And this is your Tuesday, Namaste Today. Good morning and namaste, and welcome to Namaste Today. I'm your host and spiritual life coach, Christopher Witecki. My mission is to stand in my heart and help other people into theirs. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to help you with yours. Today's webisode is for Tuesday, December 8th, 2015. And today, as we wake, the human walk has progressed to step 16, Sagittarius. Now, in the never and constant ending effort to improve myself, I am releasing another new little segment in every show, kind of designed to help you with your day. I'm constructing this show to really be your kickstart to the day. I really want to give you a dose of love, a reminder of who you really are, and a little outlook for how to manage the day. So this segment is called Today's Vibe. It'll always come at the beginning of my show so that you can get the vibe of the day, and if you're in a rush, you can get it and you can go, because I respect that. I have definitely overbooked myself too much as well. But, I think it would really be great if you can make a commitment to yourself for at least a half hour in the morning. Can you do that? And I'm going to actually commit to making this show be able to be there with you for that over time. It'll take me probably a full year to get there, by the way, to make it interesting enough and have you good information. But I think a half hour in the day for yourself each morning is really a good way to start your day. If you can just give it to yourself, you will find that in 40 days, your life dramatically improves. And we'll talk about why 40 another day. It's a very interesting topic. So today's vibe. Today's vibe is cloudy and spiritual, in my opinion. We're going to be quite introverted and kind of wandering around the planet, kind of like zombies, with our phones. We're searching for what we don't know. We're trying to get to the gist about a belief. You may be going back and forth about something. This is all adding up to a decision we're going to make in the next 24, 36 hours about what our heart truly believes, and not just what our heart truly believes, but what we're willing to bank on. It's one thing to believe something, it's another thing to gamble your life on it. Now, the moon today is in Scorpio. It's been in Scorpio for the last 2 days, and it crossed over Venus, which is in Scorpio. What that means is that we're getting to the nitty-gritty, dirty bottom of what the truth is. First in ourselves, about what we're really, really into, what we're really willing to do, what we're really willing not to do. And sometimes, that's a shock for the outer world. If you're a person like myself who is a light worker and always pleasing other people, when I get to the truth of what I want, a lot of times people are shocked. That's because I had been ignoring what I wanted for so long, trying to be helpful to other people. So the vibe today is going to be cloudy. It's going to be kind of getting to the deep truth of things. And Mars is in Libra, pushing to advance ourselves, pushing to get ahead with our relationship to ourselves. So everyone is feeling the pressure to stand up for themselves finally. Now, Mars is in an opposition to Uranus, and so that means that we're starting into a tug-of-war, probably with our old ego and our new ego. You may be in a fight with someone else. You may be in an argument with a customer. You may get spiraled up by politics you see on TV. It's probably this tug-of-war inside yourself between the new dumbass and the old dumbass. That's what I call our ego. And people go, that's negative, Chris. You know what? It's actually putting things the way they belong. For too long, the ego has ruled our earth. Put that dumbass where it belongs, under the heart. It reports to the heart. The ego works for the heart, okay? That is true power. Now, we're feeling these two dumbasses pulling back on ourselves, and our mind is kind of cloudy and spaced out today, and that's all good. I really recommend you take like 10, at least 7 minutes of meditation, and just try to sense and quiet your mind and see what comes up. What is it that you're trying to get the gist of? If you make the time and space for it, you'll probably find it. Now, that leads me to the last point of today's vibe, which is that we are truly opening up to something greater. In fact, there may be a surprise in store for yourself today about what you truly want, or a surprise about real information. That's because Venus herself is at step 4. So we might have a minor breakthrough in Scorpio around where a boundary is because some sort of truth might have really come out. Now that brings us to today's topic, where I want to kind of expand on the vibe and kind of go into what that cloudiness is and talk about something that I think is important for the sun in Sagittarius. Now, if you're just joining us, welcome. Thank you so much. And please thank the person who referred you to watch this show. I think it's a blessing, actually, if someone does. I mean, anytime someone does something nice for someone and it leads to something good in your life, it's a good thing, right? It's a blessing. So today's topic is, I believe there is more where that came from. I believe there is more where that came from. This is a core belief discussion about abundance. Now, I remember when I was watching The Secret, I'm not sure when it came out, but when there was that whole phase when we first started to really come out as light walkers and express ourselves as the light was waking up, there was a talk of abundance. Everyone wanted abundance. That's the magic word for being rich, really. It's kind of spirituality sweeping under the rug, but it's materialistic too at times, me included. And I know it's difficult because, the universe has, the negative powers that be that want to tax every citizen on Earth and put every citizen on Earth under their kind of work regime, honestly, has forced us into money. And so we've been forced in this position. Right? And I don't know if it's the greatest plan, really, if we sit back and think about what would be a better plan. But I believe there's more where that came from. Now, that phrase, actually, to give credit, goes to Neil Donald Walsh, who wrote Conversations with God, because in that book series, God talks about how one of the core issues that humankind is having right now is that it believes at the core that there's limited resource on the planet. And God and the universe cannot stress any deeper that is a dirty lie. There is more where that came from. This goes down to your core belief about whether you believe we come from spirit or you believe we come from material. Now, one of the consequences of the two differences of your root belief is that if you believe we come from material, then you also believe that we have limited resources. Limited resources means there's things worth fighting over. Right? For those of us who believe there is creation, it makes total logical sense that if you believe in creation, you can always create more. But I cannot disagree with God here in this book when I recognize the fact that human beings are way stuck because they believe that there's not enough. I have to say I disagree. Looking at the planet, what we have here is a bunch of greedy people at the top, about the top 1%, and I don't know why these people are greedy, but really this is our problem. We have enough food to feed the entire planet. We throw away so much food, and the problem is that we're expecting to make money off of the basic things on Earth. I think that's the root problem. Why are we profiting off of medicine? Why do we profit off of food? Why do we profit off of things that go to our life? Shouldn't we only profit off of things that come from our own genius, like what we do with these items? Anything that God or the Earth originally provided, maybe as humans we should just make that available to everyone like it originally was, right? Could you imagine if that was the case? But I do know from manifestation and what I teach, and I know from having been stuck in so many hard places so many times where I got on my knees and prayed for a solution, that indeed there's always more where that came from. So what this means in practical advice to your day, my friends, is that whenever you start to worry that you don't have enough time, you say to yourself, there's more where that came from. Whenever you're worried there won't be enough money for gifts or money for the bills, you say instead in your mind, there's more where that came from. And whenever you're worried that was the last love of your life and there's no way you could ever possibly love someone as deeply again, realize that in this infinite universe, there's more where that came from. All right. So without further ado, let's go into the inner Zen den and see what it has to say for you. And of course, we have to instigate our clapper. Clap on the clapper. I am not being paid for that, by the way. Okay, and as you can see, I've got myself a little new smiley face here. I thought that would be cute to start the day with and say hello to you. So, what my guides say was Mars, and I had to look again, and they say Mars. So, Mars is up here, ironically at step 15. Step 15 is the Grandmaster step of Libra. So, if you think of Libra as a scale, right? Here's the scale. This would be the fulcrum here, if you guys remember science. A teeter-totter, right? And this is the ground here. The center here is step 15. Step 15 is the center. We reach the center of something. Now, this is the center of the consciousness that centers. Okay? So if you're feeling off-center, well, I'm not surprised you're feeling off-center, because we are trying to adjust this right here. Exactly this. Now, what is this? I can't say it simply enough. It is I think, the 5. Step 15 is I think. So 15, I think. Okay? So what I think is actually going to, at the end of the day, construct your balance. That's the good thing to know. And what we think about, what really our relationship to ourselves, what we think about how we relate to ourselves, what we think is fair, what we decide is fair, what we decide is balance, that's actually what it comes down to. Not the facts, not how much you add up at the end of the day, like we like to do with our logical mind. Now, this opposition, as I was talking in the beginning, is Mars versus Uranus, and this is making everyone really kind of, again, a little cranky on the inside, I think, in the background, because I think the old dumbass is fighting with the new dumbass. The old dumbass is the codependent one. The new dumbass is the one that's trying to be free. So that's what I'm saying. Here's the new, here's the old. Uranus is working on the old in Aries, the actual energy of I am, I act. So this is our actual root energy here being rewritten, but here's the new version of us going up, flying into the sky, and fighting the old. So at the end of the day, as I like to say, it comes down to what you think. And I always say, because it's a 15, what are you supposed to think about? You're supposed to think about what you love, the 1. You always go backwards in step astrology, by the way. You read the numbers backwards. Think about what you love. Okay, so today the day is ruled by step 16. Step 16 adds to a 7, which is I sense. So the important note here is the 6. 6 is, by the way, Libra. So the fulcrum point really is this Mars, this ego thing, to determine if this is going to open up. You've got to relax your ego and be mindful of the new dumbass, let the old dumbass go, to open up the step 16 energy. Now, 6 is I receive, and the whole point here is you gotta just allow things to go and flow today. You gotta get to a point where things go and flow. It's not till things are flowing that the 7, the psychic awareness, will open up. Okay, so this is kind of like where people, even when I meditate in the mornings, I don't get my psychic messages then. I get my psychic messages when I'm doing the dishes, when I'm walking the dog, when I'm, taking a shower. They come when I'm in motion, when things are just flowing in my life. And that's really when they do come. So try to stay in the flow today and don't get stopped up by this little war. Now, the moon today is in Scorpio. And, oh my goodness, look at this. I printed this when it was at step 16. How ironic is that? That's going to be at 11:20 a.m. Pacific, by the way. And that means that's when everything adds to a 7. That'll probably be the time when we just open up. But this is where we'll probably get, at some point between step 16 and 19, we'll come to the truth about something. We'll come to an emotional truth. We'll come to an emotional wall, like, oh, this is it. This is really where I feel and stand. That'll be sometime around sunset. And at that point, we're going to come to clarity, or really open up here. Now, the last thing I'll point out is Mercury. Where is the smartass? That's the smartass, by the way. Mercury's at step 28 in Sagittarius, which means that we're going to decide today and manifest the big picture. That's what step 28 is of Sagittarius, the big picture. Incidentally, the galactic center is at step 27, right there. So we're making the decision for the big picture, thinking about God on a God day. How cool is that, right? All right, I think this is a good wrap up for today. I just want to do a quick little shout out, and I'm going to do some shout outs at the end of the show. So if people want to go, they can go. But I want to do a couple of shout outs to people based on what they're talking about with their comments. Jackie, we were talking about what will it take for world peace, and Jackie said when the power of love overcomes the power the love of power. When the power of love overcomes the love of power. I thought that was profound, Jackie. Adele says she feels peaceful when she's connected to others. I think that's really true, Adele, and I think it's interesting about that is that it seems that modern technology and everything isolates us, so we're never connected to others. We're never talking. Even now, it's through technology. And Carrie said, world peace will occur once we stop living in fear that we are separate from one another. I think that's true, Carrie. She also says she's visualizing me at my TV pilot premiere, and I think that's awesome and so cool of you, Carrie. Thank you. In fact, just so everyone knows, I'll just make the announcement. I've planned to move my show to Texas, as I've talked, but we have landed now into Austin, Texas. So I've decided to move the talk show in Texas. So Carrie, imagine yourself down in Texas, hanging out around by the pool afterwards. All right, my friends, I love you so much. I'm so grateful to be of soul service. Some people have asked me to extend the show a little longer. Well, I guess today you got your wish now, didn't you? Make sure you stay in your hearts today, and remember that you are special and you are serving a purpose. Even the smallest things on earth can have profound effect. I'll see you in 24 hours with more, my friends. I love you, and live, love, be. So God.